So we're at the Travel Weekly Sustainability Summit, our third Sustainability Summit, and I'm with Bruce Poon Tip, who is the founder of G Adventures, and here is our keynote speaker. You're just about to address the audience, Bruce, and I think talk to us a little bit about community tourism, which is something that you are so passionate about. Tell us a little bit what you're going to tell everyone.
Well, community tourism specifically is about expanding the spectrum of how we define success around sustainability. Especially with COP around the corner, sustainability is often linked to environment, but we look at the communities, local communities benefiting from tourism, the idea of poverty alleviation and wealth distribution through tourism, and the idea that there's a dialogue with communities, and communities rise and benefit as tourism grows.
Yeah.
And so just expanding that spectrum of success when we talk about sustainability and how community tourism becomes an important, a very important, impact tool when it comes to tourism.
Yeah, and is it something that obviously it's something you focus on at G, and we can talk about that, but is it something that you think the industry in general is becoming more aware of and addressing?
Yeah, I think so. I think what's changing more so is the consumers changing. I mean, coming out of COVID, there's inherent risks to travel. COVID hasn't gone away. So the consumer's changing, so that's putting demands on the on tour operators like ourselves. I would like to see that, after what we've been through that shutdown of 2 years, that the industry meets the consumer halfway and decides to change because it's the right thing to do and it's something we all should do. But unfortunately, I think it's the consumer that's driving that change at the moment. So that's part of the message I'll talk about today as well.
And of course, you made a whole film about this. I mean,
we did.
You're not only running a company that's very focused on it, but you made a film which last time you were over in the UK, I came to the premiere, and it's pretty impactful actually. Yeah. Making some really, big claims and holding people up to account. I think in certain sectors of the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I like to say that The Last Tourist was a message of hope, really. In order to get there, of course, we had to, really show where the tourism industry is. And I think before COVID, the travel industry wasn't in such a great place. And that's when we started making the film. And then COVID happened, and then we kind of moved in a different direction.
It's a bit of a reset from COVID. Yeah.
And so, you have to kind of put everything out there about where we are as an industry. And before we can actually talk about solutions. And I think that was the message of The Last Tourist. I think it was ultimately well received as a positive message.
Okay, well, you should watch the film, definitely. Please. It's very, very, very interesting. And then just talk about G very quickly, because you had loads of new initiatives, which we're hopefully going to talk about in a minute, but just talk about your GX Summit, which was fascinating in Peru, a new event, 350 delegates, and that was also to focus on some of the projects that you do with Planetera, so just tell us about that.
Yeah, well, GX was amazing. It originally started because we missed our 30th birthday because of COVID. Planetera, our foundation, was having its 20th anniversary.
Yep.
And then we have all these other G kind of events that we used to run. We decided to pull them all together into one major event. So we had 7 tracks of people, whether it was travel agents, that was our largest track. We had influencers and PR and writers, travel writers. We had suppliers, competitors, everyone kind of came together for a big summit, but also got to see firsthand what community tourism looks like. It was exceptional, and we hired the village people to reunite at our big gold party, which was awesome. And the idea is to do a yearly thing. So we're actually negotiating with a few countries are bidding right now to have GX next year, and hopefully you'll come next year.
Okay, I will. I know I got a lot of trouble for not going this year, but I wanted to, I just couldn't. And just you mentioned there the Planetera projects. Just it is important because you're supporting a lot of them, and a lot of them really struggled through COVID because tourism is everything for them.
Yep.
Did they all come through it? Are you now supporting them again and more?
Yeah, I mean. It was complex. We have over 100 community projects, and a majority of them had other forms of revenue or ways to survive. But a lot of the communities, we actually convinced them into the supply chain. We sold them on the idea of tourism. So we felt some sense of responsibility, and we supported as much as we could. We actually took donations from customers. We did match donations all throughout COVID and helped the communities that needed to be helped. A lot of them are coming back into the supply chain now. Most of them made it through, but there are a couple that we haven't convinced to come back. But I mean, it was very hard on everyone. The world just shut down, and no one could ever have anticipated that. But we felt a sense of responsibility for some of them because, some of them stopped doing other things in order to come, come into tourism. So we did what we could to work with the communities, and I think we did a great job. And have great partnerships with these communities, so we made it through.
Yeah, well,
everything.
You do a great job, and we can't wait to hear your presentation today.
Thank you
So much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.